In the blistering heat of a Nevada desert, a baby's wail pierces the silence beside a lifeless woman, her hands still clutching a locket. A lone rider, shadowed by his past, kneels beside them. Why would a stranger risk everything for a child? And a corpse in a land where trust is as scarce as water? The Nevada desert sprawls like a graveyard of forgotten dreams, its cracked earth baked to a brittle crust under a sun that knows no mercy. Red rock spires jut skyward, their shadows slicing. The dunes like knives, a faint, ragged cry shatters the silence, a sound so raw it seems to claw its way out of the earth itself. It's a baby's wail, desperate and alive, a beacon in a land where hope is as scarce as shade. Who would abandon a child to this wasteland? And why does a stranger, hardened by years of blood and betrayal, pause to listen? Caleb Holt pulls back on the reins of his bay mare, Juniper, her hooves kicking up dust that clings to his weathered duster. At 32, Caleb's face is a map of hard years, lines etched by sun and sorrow. Gray eyes sharp as a hawk's, shadowed by a wide-brimmed hat. His Colt revolver, worn smooth from use, rests heavy against his hip, a constant reminder of the man he's become, a bounty hunter who trades lives for coin, a wanderer with no home but the saddle. The cry grows louder, urgent, pulling him toward a wrecked stagecoach half swallowed by sand. Its splintered frame leans drunkenly, wheels shattered, canvas roof flapping like a wounded bird. He dismounts, boots grinding against gravel, the desert's heat pressing against his chest like a living thing. The wail leads him to a mesquite tree, its gnarled branches clawing at the sky. There, sprawled in the dust, lies a young woman, her auburn hair fanned out like spilled wine. A bullet's cruel mark blooms crimson across her chest, her hand clutching a silver locket as if it were her last anchor to life. Her eyes, wide and unseeing, stare at the heavens, frozen in a plea for mercy that never came. Beside her, a baby, writhes in a tattered blanket, her cries fierce despite her tiny frame. As if defying the desert's indifference, Caleb kneels, his shadow falling over them like a shroud. The baby's face, smudged with dust, is flushed from crying, her fists waving as if fighting the world itself. Something cracks inside him, a fault line in the armor he's built over years of loss. He lifts her gently, her warmth seeping through. His calloused hands, so small against the weight of his sins, she quiets, her sobs fading to soft whimpers as she nestles against his chest. Her eyes, bright as sagebrush after rain, meet his, and Caleb feels a pull he can't name, a tether to a life he swore he'd never live again. He brushes the locket, its silver cool despite the sun's blaze. The clasp resists, then yields, revealing a faded photograph of a man with a square jaw and eyes cold as winter iron. Caleb's breath catches. That face, familiar, yet elusive, stirs a memory he can't grasp, like a name on the tip of his tongue. Etched inside the locket is a single word, Clara, the woman's name, a whisper of who she was. Caleb's jaw tightens. He's seen too many bodies left to rot in this wilderness, but this one feels personal, as if the desert itself is daring him to care. The vastness around him watches, its silence heavier than the heat. The desert is no mere backdrop, it's a predator, its dunes hiding secrets, its winds hissing of danger. Caleb knows its tricks, the mirages that lure men to their deaths, the rattlesnakes coiled in shadows, the bandits who strike like vultures. He's a man forged by this land, his hands stained with the blood of those he's hunted. A child has no place in his world, yet leaving her isn't an option. He names her Lily, after the wildflowers that cling to life in the cracks of this barren place. Their delicate petals a quiet rebellion against despair. Caleb unties a strip of cloth from his saddlebag, fashioning a sling to secure Lily against his chest. Her heartbeat, faint but steady, presses against his own, a rhythm that feels both foreign and familiar. Clara deserves more than to be carrion for coyotes. He retrieves a shovel from Juniper's pack and begins to dig beneath the mesquite, the earth resisting like it's guarding its own. Sweat stings his eyes, and the sun hammers his back, but he works on, each spadeful a small act of defiance against the indifference of this place. He lays Clara in the shallow grave, tucking the locket into her hand. Rest now, Clara, he murmurs, his voice rough as the sand. I'll look after her. Juniper snorts as Caleb mounts. Lily's warmth a quiet anchor against the chaos. Of his thoughts, Redstone lies today's ride away, a town carved from greed and grit, where answers might wait but so might trouble. Caleb's past dogs him like a shadow, a duel gone wrong, a man dead, a child left fatherless. He swore he'd never carry another's burden, yet here he is, bound to a stranger's daughter. His hand rests on his revolver, eyes scanning the horizon. The desert doesn't forgive mistakes, and neither do the men who roam it. As dusk bleeds crimson across the sky, painting the dunes in fire and shadow, Caleb spots movement, a dust cloud, faint but growing, maybe a mile off. 3 riders, their forms blurred against the fading light. His pulse quickens, but his face stays stone. Bandits, scavengers, or worse, he doesn't know. But out here, men don't ride together for friendly chats. Lily stirs, her tiny fingers brushing his chest, and Caleb's grip tightens on the reins. He's got something to protect now, and that changes everything. The desert hums with secrets, its winds carrying whispers of Clara's death, the locket's hidden truth, and the riders closing in. Who was Clara running from? Why did her killer leave Lily alive? And why does that photograph haunt Caleb like a ghost from his past? Redstone holds the key, but it's a town where trust is a gamble and justice comes at the end of a barrel. Caleb urges Juniper forward, the baby's heartbeat a quiet vow against his own. Whatever lies ahead, he'll face it for Lily, for Clara, and maybe for the man he might still become. The sun dips below the horizon, leaving Redstone bathed in a bruised twilight, its wooden facades glowing faintly under flickering lanterns. The town hums with life, saloon pianos clanging, boots thudding on warped boardwalks, and the low murmur of secrets traded over whiskey. Redstone is a place forged by ambition and desperation, its streets lined with dust and dreams, where every shadow hides a knife. Caleb Holt rides in, Juniper's hooves stirring clouds of grit. Lily, strapped to his chest, sleeps fitfully, her tiny breaths a fragile rhythm against the chaos of this place. Caleb's eyes scan the main street, weary of every glance. His duster is caked with desert dust, and his hand never strays far from his revolver. Redstone's air carries the tang of smoke and sweat, a stark contrast to the desert's sterile heat. Men in Stetsons and women in faded calico pause to stare at the stranger. With a baby a sight as rare as rain in these parts, Caleb feels their eyes like pinpricks, each one a reminder that trust here is a fool's wager. He needs answers about Clara's death, but towns like Redstone guard their truths as fiercely as gold. He ties Juniper to a hitching post outside the general store, its sign creaking in the evening breeze. Inside, the air smells of tobacco and molasses. The storekeeper, a weary man with a face like crumpled leather, squints at Caleb. "Ain't seen a man carry a young'un like that," he mutters, eyeing Lily. Caleb's voice is low, steady. "Found her out in the desert, beside her mother. Name was Clara. Know her?" The storekeeper's face tightens, his hands pausing over a sack of flour. "Clara Vance," he says, barely a whisper. "Widow. Came through last week, headed east. Said she was running from trouble." Caleb presses, his gray eyes unyielding. "What kind of trouble?" The storekeeper glances at the door, voice dropping lower. "Elias Kane's kind. Cattle baron. Owns half this town, saloons, bank, even the sheriff's badge. Word is, Clara owed him. Her stagecoach got hit 2 days ago. No survivors." Caleb's jaw clenches. The lockets weigh heavy in his pocket. The photograph inside those cold eyes starts to take shape in his mind, but the memory remains just out of reach outside. The street grows quieter, the lanterns casting long shadows. Caleb steps onto the boardwalk, Lily stirring against him. A woman's voice, rich and honeyed, floats from the saloon across the street, singing of lost love and open skies. The melody pulls at something in Caleb, a longing he buried long ago. He crosses the street, drawn to the sound, and enters the rusty Spur Saloon. The air is thick with cigar smoke and the clink of glasses. Men hunch over card tables, their laughter sharp as broken glass, while others leer at the singer on a small stage. She's Rose Callahan, her auburn hair catching the lamplight like embers, her green eyes sharp enough to cut through the haze. Her song ends, and the room erupts in applause, but her smile doesn't reach her eyes. She steps down, her dress swaying, and notices Caleb. "You look like a man carrying more than just a child," she says, her voice teasing but laced with something deeper. Caleb shifts, uneasy under her gaze. "Just passing through," he replies, but Lily's soft coo betrays him. Rose's expression softens. "She's a beauty. Got a name?" "Lily," Caleb says, his voice softer than he means. Rose kneels, brushing a finger along Lily's cheek. "Heard about a woman named Clara," she says quietly. "Brave, but scared." She sat right there. She nods to a corner table, talking about a fresh start. "Didn't know she had a little one." Caleb's chest tightens. "She's dead. Found her in the desert. Shot." Rose's hand freezes, her eyes flickering with something like fear or guilt. Before Caleb can ask more, the saloon doors swing open. 3 men stride in, their spurs jangling, led by a scar-faced gunslinger with a sneer that could curdle milk. Boone, Elias Kane's right hand. The room quiets, the air growing heavy. Boone's eyes lock on Caleb. "Heard you been a skin." Questions, "Stranger," he drawls, his hand hovering near his holster. Redstone don't take kindly to nosy types. Caleb stands tall, Lily's weight grounding him. "Just looking for truth," he says, his voice calm but edged with steel. Boone laughs, cold and sharp. "Truth's a dangerous thing round here." Rose steps between them, her smile tight. "Boone, let the man be. He's just passing through." Boone's sneer widens, but he backs off, his men following. The saloon exhales, but Caleb knows he's marked. Rose pulls him aside, her voice low. "You're stirring a hornet's nest." Kane's men don't ask twice. Caleb studies her, sensing the weight she carries. "Why help me?" he asks. Rose hesitates, then says, "Clara deserved better, and that baby don't deserve this town." That night, as Caleb settles Lily in a borrowed room above the saloon, a scream pierces the air. Flames lick the sky from a homestead on the town's edge. Kane's warning to anyone who talks. Caleb grabs his rifle and runs, leaving Lily with Rose at the homestead. He pulls a family from the burning wreckage, his lungs burning from smoke. The father, choking, mutters about Kane's men. Caleb's eyes narrow, his resolve hardening. He's no hero, but he's in too deep to walk away. Back at the saloon, Rose cradles Lily, her face pale. "You saved them," she says, but her voice trembles. Caleb notices a bruise on her wrist, half hidden by her sleeve. "You're tied to Kane, aren't you?" he asks. Rose looks away, her silence louder than words. The town's lanterns flicker, casting redstone in a glow that hides as much as it reveals. Caleb feels the locket in his pocket, its secrets burning hotter than the fire he just faced. Kane's shadow looms, and Caleb knows the truth about Clara's death will come at a cost. The moon hangs low over Redstone, its pale light casting the town in a ghostly glow. The streets are quiet now, the saloon's piano silenced, but the air hums with unease, like the moment before a storm breaks. Caleb Holt sits in the dim room above the rusty Spur Saloon. Lily asleep in a makeshift cradle of blankets. Her tiny chest rises and falls, a fragile rhythm that anchors him. His fingers trace the silver locket, its etched name Clara gleaming. Faintly, he opens it again, staring at the photograph inside. Those cold eyes, that square jaw, they gnaw at him, a memory clawing its way free. Then it hits, sharp as a gunshot. Elias Kane, the man in the locket, is the cattle baron himself. Clara wasn't just a victim, she was Kane's wife, and Lily, sleeping so peacefully, is his daughter. Caleb's heart pounds, the room suddenly too small. Kane ordered the stagecoach hit to erase Clara. But why, and why leave Lily alive? The revelation burns, tying the desert's secrets to Redstone's shadows. Caleb's past surges up like Bila Duel 5 years ago. A man dead in the dust, a child left behind. He swore never to carry another's burden. But Lily's existence feels like a chance to right that wrong. Yet protecting her means facing Kane, a man who buys loyalty with fear and buries his enemies in shallow graves. Downstairs, Rose Callahan wipes down the bar, her movements sharp, her green eyes distant. The bruise on her wrist, barely hidden by her sleeve, pulses with every motion. Caleb descends. Lily cradled in his arms and catches her gaze. "We need to talk," he says, his voice low but firm. Rose hesitates, then nods, leading him to a quiet corner where the lamplight barely reaches. "You're in deep, Caleb," she warns, her voice a mix of defiance and dread. "Cain's men are watching. You saved that family last night, and now you're a problem." Caleb sets the locket on the table, its silver glinting like a challenge. "Clara was Cain's wife," he says, watching Rose's face. Her breath catches, her fingers tightening on a rag. "You knew," he adds, not accusing, just certain. Rose looks away, her jaw tight. "Not everything," she admits. "Clara came to me, scared, talking about leaving him, said he'd kill her. Before he let her go, I told her to run." Her voice cracks, guilt seeping through. "Didn't know about the baby." Caleb leans closer, his voice steady, but laced with urgency. "Why's Cain want her dead?" Rose's eyes flicker to Lily, then back to him. Clara knew things about his deals, his land grabs. She was a threat. And Lily, she's proof of what he's trying to hide. Caleb's mind races. Cain's empire, built on cattle and corruption, stretches across Nevada. But a child could unravel it. He feels the weight of Lily's trust, her tiny hand curled against his chest, and knows he's all she has. Rose's story spills out, halting at first, then fierce. She's bound to Cain by her brother's gambling debts, forced to sing in his saloon, to smile while his men leer. But she's been helping others, passing messages, hiding runaways, risking everything to chip away at Cain's grip. "I'm no saint," she says, her voice raw. But Clara deserved better. So does Lily. Caleb sees the fire in her, a strength that mirrors his own, and something stirs a spark of trust, maybe more. Though he fights it. He's been alone too long to believe in promises. The moment shatters as hoofbeats thunder outside. Caleb peers through the saloon's grimy window, spotting 3 riders, Cain's men, led by Boone. Their shadows long and menacing in the moonlight. They're headed for a narrow canyon pass just outside town, a choke point perfect for an ambush. Caleb's instincts scream trap. "Stay with Lily," he tells Rose, grabbing his rifle. She grips his arm, her touch firm. "Don't be a fool, Caleb. You go out there. You might not come back." He meets her eyes, seeing fear, but also faith. "I've got no choice," he says, and slips into the night. The canyon pass is a maze of jagged cliffs, their edges sharp against the starlit sky. The air is thick with dust, the wind carrying the faint rattle of a snake. Caleb moves silently, his boots soft on the rocky trail, rifle ready. He spots Boone and his men waiting, their voices low, plotting to silence anyone asking about Clara. Caleb's no stranger to fights, but Lily's face flashes in his mind, steadying his aim. When Boone's men spot him, the canyon erupts gunfire. Cracks, bullets ricochet off stone, and Caleb dives behind a boulder. His shots are precise, wounding one man and scattering another, but Boone's laughter echoes. Chilling as the desert night, Caleb outwits them, using the canyon's twists to flank their position. He disarms Boone's second man, but a bullet grazes his shoulder, pain searing like fire. Juniper, his loyal mare, takes a hit and collapses, her whinny a knife to his heart. Caleb fights on, driven by Lily's trust and Clara's memory, until Boone retreats. Cursing into the dark, blood seeps through Caleb's shirt as he kneels beside Juniper. Her breath's shallow. He strokes her mane, whispering thanks for her years of loyalty, then cuts the saddle free. He's on foot now, Lily's life depending on his strength alone. Back in Redstone, Rose meets him at the saloon's edge, Lily in her arms. Her eyes widen at his bloodied shoulder, but she doesn't flinch. "You're a damn fool," she says, but her voice is soft, almost proud. Caleb slumps against the wall, exhaustion carving lines deeper into his face. The canyon fight has marked him as Cain's enemy, and Redstone's whispers will carry the news. The locket's secret binds him to Clara's fate, and Rose's courage pulls him closer to her, though he fears the cost. The town watches, its lanterns flickering like eyes, as Caleb vows to protect Lily no matter what lies beyond the next dawn. Dawn breaks over Redstone, painting the sky in streaks of fire and ash. The town feels like a coiled spring, its dusty streets hushed, its wooden facades creaking under the weight of secrets. The air carries the sharp scent of sagebrush and gunpowder, a reminder that peace here is as fleeting as a desert mirage. Caleb Holt stands in the shadow of the rusty Spur Saloon, his shoulders still throbbing from the canyon fight, the bandage beneath his shirt stiff with dried blood. Lily sleeps upstairs, her soft breaths a quiet tether to his purpose. The locket in his pocket feels heavier now, its secret Clara as Cain's wife, Lily as his daughter burning like a brand. Redstone is a powder keg, and Caleb's presence is the spark. He meets Rose Callahan in the saloon's backroom, where lamplight flickers over crates of whiskey and worn playing cards. Her auburn hair is pulled back, revealing the faint bruise on her wrist, a mark of Cain's hold. Her green eyes, sharp as ever, soften when they land on Caleb. "You look like hell," she says, her voice teasing but laced with worry. Caleb manages a half smile. "The first in days. Feel like it too," he replies, setting his rifle down. "But Cain's men are closing in. We need a plan." Rose nods, her jaw tight. She's no stranger to fighting, not with a brother drowning in debts and a town under Cain's boot. But this fight feels bigger, personal. Rose reveals her secret. She's been stealing glimpses of Cain's ledger, a leather-bound book detailing his illegal land deals and bribes. Clara found it once. She says, voice low, tried to take it to the law in Carson City. That's why he killed her. Caleb's eyes darken, the pieces falling into place. Cain's empire isn't just cattle, it's a web of stolen land and silenced voices. Lily, as his heir, could expose him, and Caleb's asking questions has made him a target. Rose pulls a folded page from her dress, a torn ledger entry. "This could ruin him," she says. "But we need to get it out of Redstone." Caleb studies her, seeing the fire beneath her fear. "Why risk it?" he asks. Rose's gaze drops to her hands, then back to him. "My brother's debts keep me chained, but I'm done watching good people die. Clara, Lily, you." Her voice catches on that last word, and Caleb feels a warmth he's fought to bury. He wants to reach for her, to promise safety. But the weight of his past, a duel, a dead man, a child's cry holds him back. Instead, he says, "We'll do this together." Their planning is cut short by shouts outside. Caleb peers through the saloon's slatted window, spotting a crowd gathering in the street. Townsfolk, shopkeepers, miners, a preacher with a worn Bible mutter about the homestead fire, about Cain's grip tightening. A blacksmith, his hands scarred from years at the forge, steps forward, voice booming. "Cain's men burned my kin's home. Who's next?" Murmurs grow to a roar, fear giving way to anger. Caleb sees a chance. He steps out, Lily in his arms, and faces the crowd. "Cain killed a woman named Clara," he says, his voice steady. "Left her baby to die. I won't let him take this town too." The crowd quiets, eyes on Lily. Then Caleb, the preacher, nods, resolute. "We're with you." Rose rallies the women, her words sharp and sure, turning fear into defiance. By noon, Redstone is alive with purpose. Men sharpen knives, women hide supplies, and the blacksmith hammers out makeshift weapons. But trouble brews in the saloon. That evening, Boone, Cain's scar-faced enforcer, strides in, his spurs clanging like a death knell. The room freezes, glasses clinking to a stop. Boone's eyes lock on Caleb, his sneer twisting the scar across his cheek. "You're a dead man walking," he taunts, his voice dripping venom. "Cain knows you've got his kid. He'll bury you for it." Caleb stands, hands steady near his revolver. The saloon's air thickens, every breath heavy with the promise of blood. Boone goads him, voice low. "Heard you killed a man in Tucson. Left his boy an orphan. Sound familiar?" The words cut deep, stirring Caleb's guilt, but he holds firm, Lily's weight in his mind. "Step outside," Caleb says, calm as stone. The street becomes a stage, dust swirling under their boots. Townsfolk watch from doorways, their hope pinned on Caleb. The duel is swift. Boone draws, but Caleb's shot is faster, his bullet grazing Boone's arm. The gunslinger stumbles, cursing, but Caleb lowers his gun. "Go back to Cain," he says. "Tell him I'm coming." Boone flees, blood dripping into the dust. That night, under a sky pierced with stars, Caleb sits by a fire outside town, carving a small wooden horse for Lily. Rose joins him, her presence a quiet comfort. "You didn't kill him," she says. Surprised, Caleb's eyes stay on the wood. "Killin' doesn't fix what's broken," he replies. His voice rough. "Lily needs better than that." Rose touches his hand, her fingers warm against his calluses. "You're not what I expected," she says softly. Caleb meets her gaze, the spark between them undeniable now, but fear lingers. He's lost too much to believe in futures. As the fire crackles, Rose shares her dream, a ranch far from Redstone, where her brother could start fresh, where Lily could grow free. Caleb sees it too, a life beyond the gun. But Kane's shadow looms, the ledger page now hidden in Caleb's saddlebag is their weapon, but getting it to Carson City means surviving. Kane's army. Redstone's lanterns glow faintly, the town holding its breath for the fight to come. Caleb finishes the horse, its curves smooth under his knife, and vows to give Lily a world Clara never had. But dawn will bring Kane's wrath, and Caleb knows not everyone will see the next sunset. The first light of dawn creeps over Redstone, bathing the town in a fragile gold that softens its jagged edges. The streets are still, but the air thrums with tension. Like the taut string of a bow ready to snap, dust swirls in lazy spirals, stirred by the boots of townsfolk gathered behind barricades of crates and wagons. Their faces miners, shopkeepers, mothers clutching children are etched with fear and defiance. Redstone, once a prisoner of Elias Kane's shadow, stands ready to fight. Caleb Holt checks his revolver, the weight of it familiar but heavy with purpose. Lily, cradled by Rose in the saloon's backroom, clutches the wooden horse he carved, her innocent gaze a quiet fire in his chest. The locket, now tucked in his pocket, carries Clara's memory of how to end what she began. Caleb stands on the saloon's porch, his bandaged shoulders stiff but steady, his gray eyes scanning the horizon. Rose joins him, her auburn hair catching the dawn's glow, her green eyes fierce with resolve. The ledger page, proof of Kane's crimes, is hidden in her dress, ready to be sent to Carson City. "You don't have to face him alone," she says, her voice steady despite the tremble in her hands. Caleb meets her gaze, the spark between them now a flame he can't ignore. "I'm not alone," he replies, his words soft but sure. "Not anymore." Her hand brushes his, a fleeting touch that anchors him against the storm to come. Hoof beats rumble in the distance, growing to a roar. Kane's men crest the hill, a dozen riders cloaked in dust, their rifles glinting like fangs. Elias Kane rides at the center, his square jaw set, his eyes cold as the locket's photograph. The town holds its breath as Caleb steps into the street, rifle in hand. The townsfolk fanning out behind him. The blacksmith grips a hammer, the preacher a shotgun, their courage forged in Redstone's firelit defiance. Kane halts, his voice booming. "You've got my daughter, Holt. Hand her over, and I might let you walk." Caleb's voice cuts through the dust, calm but unyielding. "Lily ain't yours. You killed her mother to hide your sins. This ends today." Kane's laugh is sharp, a blade of sound. "You think this town can stand against me?" He raises a hand, and his men draw, but Redstone is ready. Barricades hold as gunfire erupts, bullets splintering wood and kicking up dirt. Caleb moves like a shadow, his shots precise, dropping to riders before they can aim. The blacksmith swings his hammer, a miner fires from a rooftop, and Rose drags a wounded woman to safety, her courage a beacon in the chaos. The battle rages. Redstone's streets a maze of smoke and screams. Caleb weaves through the fray, his focus razor sharp, but Kane's men are relentless, their numbers pressing hard. A bullet grazes his leg, pain flaring, but he pushes on, driven by Lily's face and Clara's locket. Rose, now armed with a derringer, fights beside him, her shots steady despite her fear. The tide turns as the townsfolk hold their ground, their unity stronger than Kane's hired guns. One by one, the riders fall or flee until only Kane remains, his horse rearing in the dust-choked street. Caleb faces him, revolver steady, the town watching in hushed silence. Kane's eyes narrow, his voice low and venomous. "Clara was a fool to think she could ruin me. Lily's nothing but a mistake. The words ignite Caleb's rage. Memories of his own past, a child left fatherless by his gun colliding with. This moment, she's no mistake. Caleb growls. She's Clara's legacy. Kane draws. His speed blinding, but Caleb's faster, his bullet striking Kane's shoulder. The Baron stumbles, blood staining his fine coat, but Caleb doesn't. Fire again. You'll face a judge, he says, voice like iron. Clara's truth will bury you. The sheriff, freed from Kane's payroll, cuffs the Baron as the townsfolk cheer. Their voices raw with triumph. Redstone breathes free, its lanterns glowing brighter as the dust settles. Caleb limps to the saloon, where Rose waits with Lily. She hands him the baby, her eyes shining with relief and something deeper. You did it, she whispers. Caleb cradles Lily, her tiny hand gripping his finger, and feels the weight of his past lift, replaced by a fragile hope. Rose's hand finds his, and this time, he doesn't pull away. Months later, a small ranch blooms on the edge of the desert, where sagebrush meets green grass. Caleb hammers a fence post, his shoulder healed, his face softer under the wide sky. Rose hums nearby, hanging laundry, while Lily toddles after a butterfly, her laughter a melody that soothes the scars of Redstone. Clara's locket hangs above Lily's crib, its silver catching the sunlight, a reminder of a mother's love and a stranger's promise. The ledger reached Carson City, and Kane's empire crumbled, his crimes laid bare. Redstone rebuilt, its people stronger, their story etched into the desert's heart. This tale reflects the Wild West's untold stories, women like Clara, erased by greed, and communities like Redstone, rising against tyranny. In the 1870s, land grabs and corruption shaped the frontier, but courage carved its future. If this story of justice and family stirred you, hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the frontier. What would you fight for? No matter the cost, share your thoughts in the comments. I read every one.